Dear students, in the last session we have discussed the normal forms, and we have discussed our first normal form, that is Chomsky normal form, CNF. We have also discussed how we can convert a given CFG into the CNF, and the basic advantage of converting a CFG into the CNF was the shape of the derivation tree in CNF will be of the form of a binary tree. Okay, so all the results and theorems related to the binary tree can also be applied, or can also be, those results can also be used for the derivation trees of CNF. Now we come on our second normal form, that is the Gribich normal form. In short, it is called as GNF. Now a CFG is in GNF if every production of the is of the form A to A alpha, where A belongs to sigma, that is A is a terminal, and alpha belongs to Vn asterisk, that is it is a string of variables only. Okay, so means on the right hand side of each production, the first symbol should be a terminal, and after it any string of variables can come. Okay, because alpha belongs to Vn asterisk, so it is the asterisk, it is the closer, so alpha can be null as well. Okay, so meaning thereby all the productions are either of the form A to small a means variable to a terminal, or of the form A alpha means first symbol will be the terminal, and after it any number of variables can be followed. So it may be of the form A to A, B, C, something like that, or D. So any string of variables can come, but only variables can come. If terminal is coming, it will come only at the first place. After that, terminal is not possible. So after the first symbol, that is the terminal, either there should be nothing or there should be a string of variables only. There may be the single variable, there may be the two variables, there may be the three variables, and so on. Any number of variables may be there. So if all the productions follows this format, then we say that our CFG is in GNF. Okay, and one more thing, like the CNF, where S to null was allowed in G, just to include null into the language of that particular grammar G. Similar is the situation here in GNF as well. So S to null will be allowed in G if null belongs to LG. Okay, and again, if S to null is present in the grammar, then S does not appear on the right hand side of any production. Okay, so this condition has to be made, meaning thereby our grammar cannot contain any null production except from the start symbol to null. If null is, and this is allowed only to include null into the language. As we have already discussed, that advantage of CNF, that is Chomsky normal form, is the shape of its derivation tree. In the similar manner, the advantage of this Gribich normal form is that it is a natural generalization of regular grammar. Now we'll look at what do we mean by the natural generalization of the regular grammar. For this, we will be comparing the format of their productions. Okay, so if a CFG is in GNF, the format of the production is A to A alpha, as we have already discussed, where A belongs to sigma, that is A is a terminal, and alpha belongs to Vn asterisk, means it is a sequence of 0 or more number of variables. Now come on the regular grammar. In regular grammar also, the format of the production is of the form A to A alpha, with A belonging to sigma means A will be a terminal. So first is the terminal, and second alpha belongs to Vn union null. So if alpha is null, then the form of the production is A to small a, that is variable to a terminal. If alpha is not null, then it will belong to Vn. So means alpha will be a variable. Then form will be of the form A to AB. Okay. So only these two kinds of productions are available in our regular grammar. So if we look at, we compare these two, the format is almost similar. The only difference is in the alpha. Here alpha belongs to Vn asterisk, and here alpha belongs to Vn union sigma. Even then, we can also understand this format in the second form, that is again form is of A to A alpha, with A belonging to sigma as in the previous one, and alpha belongs to Vn star, not Vn union null, it belongs to Vn star, and length of alpha is less than or equal to 1. So less than or equal to 1 means either the length of alpha is 0. So if the length of alpha is 0, it simply represents null. If length of alpha is 1, then it simply represents it is a variable. Okay, it cannot be more than 1. So length of alpha is less than or equal to 1. So in this format also we can represent this. So now if we compare this format with this one, so these are all almost similar. It is A to A alpha with A belonging to sigma, with A belonging to sigma, alpha belongs to Vn asterisk, alpha belongs to Vn asterisk. The only difference is here we have the restriction that alpha, length of alpha is less than or equal to 1. Here in the CFG in GNF, we do not have this restriction, means length of alpha may be even more than 1 also. It may be 0, it may be 1, it may be 2, 3, 4, and so on, anything. So that's why we are calling that CFG in GNF is a natural generalization of the regular grammar. So whatsoever results, whatsoever theorems we have proved or we know about the regular grammars, we can simply extend those results to the CFG as well if it is written in the form of Greenwich normal form, that is in GNF. Now we come on the procedure of converting a CFG into the GNF. The construction of a CFG in GNF is based on two lemmas. We will name these two lemmas as lemma 1 and lemma 2. So first of all, I am discussing what lemma 1 is. So lemma 1 is, suppose G is a CFG. So G is equal to Vn, sigma, P and S, and we claim that it is a CFG context-free grammar. Let us assume that A to B gamma, this one, A to B gamma is an A production in P. In this grammar, in the productions of this grammar, there is some variable A which is having a production of the form A to B gamma. Means on the left hand side there is a single symbol A, on the right hand side at first place we are having the variable B, and after it it is followed by a string of variables and terminals. So anything which consists of some variables, some terminals, their combination can come after it, but at the first place we are having a variable B. Now we are considering what will be the B productions. So B is a variable, so it will also be having a production in this grammar. So let the B productions are of the form B2 beta 1. So this is the symbol beta. So it is beta 1 or beta 2 or beta 3 and so on up till beta S. So these all are the B productions. Okay. And here we assume that no beta starts with a B. So they may start either with a terminal or they may start with some variable. They may contain anything else, but they will not start with this variable with the symbol capital B. Okay. So this is the restriction here. If it is the situation, then we can define another set of production P1. So this P1 will be equivalent to P minus A to B gamma. So means in the set of productions we are removing this production, this A production which is A to B gamma. We are removing this production. Okay. And then we are adding certain more productions. We are removing this production, and in place of this production we are adding certain other productions, and these productions are of the form A to beta I gammas. Okay. And for this, the way where the I is 1 less than equal to I less than equal to S. So where I varies from 1 to S. So means we are removing this single production A to B gamma, and in place of this we are adding multiple productions which are A to beta 1 gamma when the value of I is 1, A to beta 2 gamma when the value of I is 2, and so on up till A to beta S gamma. So basically what we are doing, B derives either beta 1, beta 2, beta 3 or beta S. So in general B derives beta I. Okay. So what we are doing, we are removing B from here and we are directly writing beta I's here. So whenever we remove A to B gamma, this production from the set of productions P, and we are adding A to beta I gammas for 1 less than equal to I less than equal to S, then simply what we are doing, we are replacing this variable B by its values. by its values. Those are the beta i's. So P1 and P2, P1 and the original P, both set of productions represent the same language. Okay, so that's why we claim that G1, which is equivalent to Vn, so similar set of variables, sigma, similar set of terminals. The only difference is in the set of productions. Rather than P, P1 is the set of production here. Okay, where we have removed A to B gamma, this production, this A production, and we have added all these A productions A to beta I gamma. Okay, so this is a CFG which is equivalent to G. So I hope you have understood that both the grammars G1 and G will be equivalent. What we have done, we have removed this production A to B gamma and added or replaced this B by its values, and the corresponding productions we have added to the P1. In this manner, we have found this P1. Now, question is, so both grammars G1 and G are equivalent. Now, question is, what is the use of it? The use of, if you carefully look at the productions, the use of it is, suppose we are having some A production having B as the variable at the first place on its right hand side. So what it will do, it will replace that variable B from the right hand side at the first place. So at first place, now you look in this new set P1, if you look at the A productions. So A productions on the first on the right hand side as the first symbol, you will never have the variable B, because we have already assumed that no beta i's starts with an B. So as no beta i's starts with an B, so A is having the production where beta it is starting with beta I. So beta I can be started either with a terminal or with some variable, but it can never start with a B. So this was our assumption. So if this assumption is true, we will be successfully able to remove the first the variable B, which is present at the first place on the right hand side. So in general, if we want to remove any variable which is present as the first symbol on the right hand side of any production, using this lemma or using this theorem, we can remove that variable from that particular from the first place on the right hand side. Okay, so this is the use of this lemma. Now come on the second lemma, that is lemma 2. In this lemma also we assume a G, which is a context-free grammar. G is equal to Vn sigma Ps as usual. Now let us assume that set of A productions are A to A alpha 1. So it starts with the variable A on the right hand side, and after that any string of variables and terminals can come that we are representing with alpha 1. Similarly, another production, another A production may be A alpha 2, A alpha 3, A alpha 4, and so on up till A alpha R. So there are R productions which are starting with the variable A and followed by a string of variables and terminals. And then A also have certain more productions, that is denoted as beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, and so on up till beta S. And these beta i's do not start with A. So meaning thereby A is having some productions which starts with the symbol A itself, or some other productions which do not start with the symbol A. So we have distinguished these two kind of productions with the format either A alpha I or beta i's. Okay, so beta i's do not start with A. So these are the A productions in the grammar or in the production set P. Now what we do, we define another grammar, we form another grammar G1. In this grammar G1, we add a new variable Z. So here the set of variable is Vn union Z. So all the variables from G we will take, and then additionally we will add one more variable that is known as the Z. Okay, then sigma is same, and then we will form the corresponding P1 corresponding set of production we will be forming, and S is the start symbol. And we will claim that G1 is an equivalent grammar with G. Okay, so how they will be the equivalent grammar. So in this grammar G1, how we will form P1? We know what is the set of variables, the original set of variables in G added by one more variable Z. So we have introduced one new variable Z. Now, if we know how we can form P1, then the grammar G1 is known to us. So we'll look at how we can form this P1. Okay. So this P1 will contain certain variables. Corresponding to each variable, we have to define the set of production. So first of all, for the variable A, we will define what will be the set of productions in P1. Okay. So set of A productions in P1 will be A2, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, and so on up till beta S. Meaning thereby, all the A productions, original A productions in the grammar G, which are not starting with the variable A. So that is beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, and so on beta S. So all beta is, those productions are as it is copied as the A productions in this new grammar G1. Is it? So we have copied these productions. Now corresponding to each, we will add the new variable Z. So if beta 1 is A2 beta 1 is a production here, then we will include one more production A2 beta 1 Z. If B2 is a production, then we will include A2 beta 2 Z, another production. So corresponding to each of beta I, we will include the productions A2 beta I Z. Okay. So these will be the all A productions in the new grammar G1. Now because we have introduced one more variable, that is Z, so we'll write the Z productions as well. So the set of Z productions will be Z2 alpha 1, alpha 2, and so on up till alpha R. Now what these alpha i's are? So if we look at the A productions, in A productions, it is all the productions which are starting with the variable A. So the later part of it, that is alpha 1, alpha 2, and so on up till alpha R. So all these will, these alpha i's will become the productions of Z. So Z productions here will be the alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, and so on up till alpha R. And if alpha 1 is a Z production, then we will also add alpha 1 Z as the production of Z. So alpha 1 is here, so alpha 1 Z will also be here. Alpha 2 is here, so alpha 2 Z will also be here, and so on. If alpha R is here, alpha R Z is also here. So in this manner, we will form the productions of the variable, newly added variable Z into the P1. And the third part is productions for all other variables are as in P. Means all other variables will remain same. So we are only removing the A productions of the original grammar P by this set of A productions and Z productions. Now what change we have made here? Just look at the productions, just look at the A productions of the grammar G1. These productions start with beta 1, beta 2 means beta i's. Okay. If these are followed by Z also, but even then these start with beta i's. So now in this new set of productions, new set of A productions, no right hand side starts with the variable A, because we have already assumed that beta i's do not start with A. So what we have done? We have done the variable A, which is appearing as the first variable on the right hand side of the A productions. So we have removed that particular variable. So if a variable which is appearing itself as the first symbol on the right hand side, with the help of this lemma, we can remove that particular variable. Now you can look at that. No A production here starts with the variable A. So we have removed that particular variable. So some other variable may come or some terminal may come, but that particular variable will not come on the first place of the right hand side of that particular production. If we look at the Z production also, these are alpha 1, alpha 2, and so on. So again, no one starts with the E. Okay. So these changes we have done. Now we claim that G1 is equivalent to G. So how they are equivalent? So with the help of one example, we will look at how these two are equivalent. Now we will look at how both the grammars G and G1 will be equivalent. In the grammar G, the original set of A productions was this: A2, A alpha 1, A alpha 2, and so on up to A alpha R, and beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, and so on up to beta S. And in the productions P1, that is in the grammar G1, the other productions will be similar, but A and Z, newly introduced variable Z productions will be like this: A2, beta 1, beta 2, and so on up till beta S, and then beta 1 Z, beta 2 Z, and so on up till beta Z. So all these will be the A productions. and Z productions will be of the form alpha 1, alpha 2, and so on up till alpha R, and then alpha 1 Z, alpha 2 Z, and alpha R Z. Okay, so if alpha 1 is present, alpha 1 Z is present. Similarly here, if B1 is present, then B1 Z is present. So these will be the A productions and these will be Z productions. Okay, so how they are equivalent. So for this, we will try to find out what is kind of strings this original set of A productions can generate. Okay, so if we are having somewhere the variable A, so what we can do, we can either use beta I, beta 1, beta 2, and so on. So we can use beta I. So we can generate the strings of the form this beta i's. Okay, so that we can also generate from here. We can directly use A to beta I. Suppose we want to generate beta 2, so we can directly take A to beta 2. Here also we can directly take A to beta 2. So in this manner, those we can generate. If we do not use beta i's, what we can do, we will use any of these productions which starts with A. Okay, so suppose we have taken any one of these productions, suppose first one. Okay, so we will generate A alpha 1. We will generate A alpha 1. So A is present here. Again, we have to use A production to remove A. So either we can use any of these beta i's or we can again use this any of these A productions. Suppose this time we are using A alpha 2. Okay, so in place of this A, we will use A alpha 2. Okay, and then again we can keep on repeating this process, and we can generate a sequence of alpha i's. Suppose next time we use A alpha 3, so we can generate something like A alpha 3. So we can repeat these productions any number of times. So any sequence of alpha i's we can generate. And then to remove this A, we have to use any of these beta i's. Suppose we use beta 2. So in place of A, we will get beta 2. So this string, suppose we have generated. Okay, so some string of this form which will start with some of the beta I and followed by a sequence of alpha i's will be generated through these A productions in the original grammar. Now, whether we can generate the same string or we will be generating the same string from this or not, we have to generate this. So, okay, we have to start with beta 2. So, we will start with A. We will simply use A2, because after beta, we have to generate only beta 2. We can use A to beta 2. But after beta 2, we have to generate a sequence of alpha i's as well. So, we will be using these productions which are comprising of Z as well. Okay, so we want beta 2 here, so we will use A to beta 2 Z. So what we will generate? We will generate beta 2 Z. Now we have come to the variable Z. We have to remove this variable Z from here. So Z we can remove using any of this alpha 1 Z's. So suppose there is only one alpha 1, then we can use any of these Z to any of alpha i's. But if there is a sequence, there are more than one alpha is present, then we will use alpha I Z productions here. Okay, so now here we want alpha 3. Okay, so we will use Z to alpha 3 Z, and then alpha 3 Z will be here. Now next we want alpha 2, so we will use Z to alpha 2 Z. So we will use alpha 2 Z. Then next we want here alpha 1. So it is the last one. So now we will not use Z to alpha 1 Z, we will directly use Z to alpha 1. So we will remove this Z and we will generate this one. So similar string we are able to generate. So whatsoever kind of string we will be generating through this original set of A productions, the same string we can use with the help of the A productions and Z productions present in the new grammar G1. So that's why we claim that our grammar G1 is equivalent to the grammar G. Now we have discussed lemma 1 and lemma 2, and we have discussed their uses also. The use of lemma 1 is to remove a variable which is appearing on the right hand side of a production, but that variable is not the same variable as on the left hand side, and we wish to remove that variable. So it is used to remove the variable which is appearing at the first place on the right hand side. Similarly, the lemma 2 is useful for removing a variable which is occurring at the first place of the right hand side, but it is the same variable as on the left hand side. So it is the same variable. So it is used to remove that. Okay. So let us first take the example for a lemma 2, which we have just described. So suppose there is a variable A. which is having the productions A to capital A, capital A, small b, then small b or small a or capital B A. So if we carefully look at, this is of the form A alpha. So this is A, basically this is our alpha 1. This is our alpha 1. A, B, suppose this is our alpha 2. So A alpha 1, A alpha 2, these are two productions. And then this production does not start with the variable A. So this can be treated as beta 1. This can be treated as beta 2 because it is also not starting with the capital A. And this is starting with the variable B but not starting with the variable capital A. So it is the beta 3. So our format is A to A alpha 1, A alpha 2, beta 1, beta 2 and beta 3. So we have to remove from our grammar these A productions, and in place of these A productions we have to add certain more A productions. So A productions will be, in the resultant grammar will be A2, all beta is will come as it is. So beta, beta 1 that is B, and then beta 2 that is A, then beta 3 that is capital B small a. And as I have told you, all the beta is with the new variable z will come. So here B is here, so it will be B Z. A is here, so it will be A Z. And BA is here, so it will be B A Z. Okay. And then there will be Z productions. There will be Z productions. Z productions will be of the form alpha i's. Okay. So alpha 1 is A. So it will be A. Then alpha 2 is B. So it will be B. And then if alpha 1, Z2 alpha 1 is a production, then Z2 alpha 1, Z will also be a production. So Z2A is a production, so Z2AZ will also be a production. Z2B will be a production, then Z2BZ will also be a production. So in this manner, we can convert, we can remove all these A productions, and these A productions and Z productions we can add to the equivalent grammar. Then come on the example of lemma 1. In lemma 1, suppose we are assuming there are productions of variable A in some grammar, A to B, A, B. Okay. And then B productions are, suppose small a, capital A, and B to small b. Okay. So here, right hand side of the production has this variable B, which we want to remove. Okay. So it is of the form B gamma. So gamma is what? Gamma is this one. Small a, capital B, this is gamma. And this B is the first variable which is occurring on the right hand side of this A production, and we want to remove this variable. Okay. So let us take, so what we will do, we will basically replace this B by its corresponding values, and we can see that the B productions does not start with the variable B itself, because if they will start with the variable B itself, then we cannot remove B in that case. Okay. In that case, if we want to remove B, we have to first use the lemma 2 to remove the same variable, because lemma 2 is useful for removing the same variable which is occurring as the first symbol on the right hand side, and lemma 1 is useful for removing those variables which are not the same as of the left side variable but occurring at the first place on the right hand side. Okay. So we will remove this production and we will add the A productions of the form. So B is AA. Okay. So we will use AA and then gamma. Gamma is what? Gamma is small a, capital B. And then B to B is there. So we will take this B, small b in place of this, and then gamma. So that will be A and capital B. So we will remove this production and we will add these A productions, and we say that these grammars are equivalent. Thank you all.